Hi, and welcome to Dev SuperPowers webinar series. My name is Malik, and I will be your host tonight. So today I'm going to teach you how you can master ReSharper. So ReSharper, for those who don't know, it's a Visual Studio extension, and it makes Visual Studio going from good to great. So ReSharper has lots of features, and I really mean lots of them. But I'm gonna show you how you can do code analysis. I mean, what does code analysis mean when you look through the code? A bit of navigation and how you can search. So you navigate through the code, see what refactorings you can do. I'll show you how you can set up nice code formatting and a bit of code generation. Now, when I mentioned that the list of features is long, you can go to ReSharper page. So this is the address how you can access ReSharper, and another sub page somewhere down there must be ReSharper features, and on that page you'll see that there are a lot of things. So if you click on each one of these, it's gonna give you, come on, I'll have to wait for the page to load. You will see exactly what features are available there. You can go through each one of them by yourself, it's not a problem, but today I'm gonna show you how you can hit the ground running if you don't know ReSharper at all, and how you can get some sufficient skills even doing very simple things. So I'm gonna switch to Visual Studio. I'm gonna start coding with a very simple application. So first thing, if you install ReSharper, you'll see that there is a new menu up here in the main menu, and because I haven't activated the license yet, it says that the ReSharper is disabled. So if I click on that link, it's gonna bring up the license information window, and if I click Start Evaluation, it's gonna start a free trial period for 30 days. So it's sufficient for the demonstration purpose. Now, before we head off, ReSharper is fairly expensive plugin. At least that's what many people say. So this is the price in US dollars. It gives you quite a lot if you ask me, but I'll leave this decision and judgment to you. Okay, so now when I enable ReSharper, the first dialog that I'll see is it will ask me if I want to set up some shortcuts. And if I go with Visual Studio, it's going to set some shortcuts that are kind of suitable for Visual Studio. If I choose ReSharper for IntelliJ IDEA, it would, for those who are using Java, they have pretty much the same functionalities there in the IntelliJ IDEA environment. And the third option here is do not set shortcuts. I'm gonna go with the default ones for Visual Studio. Now the list of shortcuts is available somewhere on the website. So if I just go chat ReSharper shortcuts, you can see a list of shortcuts that are available by default. So if you ever get lost, you can always search for what are you trying to do and what is the shortcut here. So this is the address if you're interested in. Okay, so now when everything is set up, we're just gonna go and create a new application. It's gonna be a console app, so I'm just trying to demonstrate how you can code with ReSharper. So I'm gonna call it Bakery. I'm gonna create a solution. So now when the editor loads up, you can see that ReSharper is already doing some code analysis in the background, and you can see that the text that's normally marked as black is a bit transparent. Same here for parameters. You can see some green lines under the M and the program. So all sort of things are happening underneath, and you can see those things coming up here on the far right side. There is an enhanced scroll bar which tells you how many warnings you have in the solution. So if you click to navigate, it's going to take you there. So I can click on each one of these guys, and if I go to the next one down here, it's always going to show me what are the problems, and I can analyze them from there. So one of the things I can do here, I can click on that icon, or I can press Alt Enter, and it's going to bring up a menu, and now it's going to tell me, okay, this parameter here, you can check it for null. That's one of the options. You can check that it's not an empty collection. You can create an overload, so it's gonna give me an option. So let's start playing with this. If I say check for null, it's gonna throw an exception if the argument is null. Okay. So the next thing I can do, check if parameter is an empty collection, and if it is an empty collection, it's gonna throw another exception. So that's another option. What about if I do create an overload without it? So see, ReSharper is smart and it's gonna create another static method without those parameters, but the thing is that with the main one you can't really say I'm gonna have multi of them, so that's where the smarts may stop at some point. Okay, the other thing is I can remove unused parameter, or I can just say, okay, I want to disable this inspection, and I can disable it once. So the next thing that ReSharper does, it's gonna put up a line up here and it's gonna say, okay, disable this inspection, and you can see that this one became black immediately, so it's not unused thing anymore because we say, okay, we want to keep it. Or we can simply go and say, okay, I want to remove this thing. So these are some of the very easy features that you can get from ReSharper. So the Alt-Enter combination is scope based, so regardless of where my where it depends on where my cursor is, it's gonna change. So you can see in here it becomes a pyramid, and here I have a light bulb. So if I click on that one, I can change the modifier. So by default, it's not happy if you say class, because this is an internal class and you should name it like internal so that it's clear to everyone what's gonna happen there. Okay, so what I'm gonna do from here, let's say I want to build some logic to interact with my database. So I'm gonna go and I want to create a new class. So I could just start typing like class, and here you can see that the template is coming up. So if I press enter, it's gonna create a new class, and I could say, okay, this is my product logic. Or there is an alternative. If I go and press Alt Insert, it's gonna ask me what I can do with this. So in this case, it's not gonna do anything because I already have some code here. But if I move in the class itself, I could say, okay, I wanna do something in this guy. So it's gonna provide me an option to override some things, or if I wanna change formatting, or if I wanna import a constructor. This is how you can do it. So this is fairly simple approach. Instead of writing constructors and all sort of things, ReSharper is smart enough for you. So just Alt Enter and it's gonna do it for you. Okay, so we have some products logic here, and I want to implement some methods. So let's say I want to get some products from the database. So this will be my public. Now it's giving me an option to override things, but we'll focus on the IntelliSense later. So I want to just get list of products back. So I want to go with iQueryable. You can see how smart it actually is. So highlighting happens on the, I could search for iQueryable, or it could be I and Q here. So IntelliSense is incredibly good in ReSharper. So that's one of the nice things. And I could filter these guys down. If I want to just see classes, it's not going to show me anything because I'll only have list of interfaces here. But I could combine. I want to see classes and interfaces. So this is one of the options you can do. Or if you press Control Space, it's going to extend the list of members you can see in the drop down. So the first one is by default you should get whatever is appropriate. Now it cleared the list of classes. So if I go here, you can see that it clears, and then it says 2 times basic. So it's gonna just look for everything that's available in the context. So you can see that something else came up, but it's suggesting, okay, you have to add a reference to this guy. If you want to use it, and there would be like 3 times basic, which would look for private members. I'm going to show you this feature later. Anyway, I'm going to implement iQueryable, and I'm going to say, okay, I want to get list of products back. So product is not a class, it doesn't exist, so it's going to mark it as red immediately because it doesn't exist anywhere in the context. Anyway, I can continue coding, and I can generate that class later. So I'm going to say get products. You see how smart it is? It already predicts what I'm trying to return. So I want to say, okay, I want to get products, and I could go on and write like this, and then say I want to get a method body, or I could simply say from here Control Shift Enter, which is a command. Oops, it wasn't smart enough for this one. I had to add basic parentheses, otherwise it thinks that this is a field. But if I go from this, like here, Control Shift Enter, it's gonna complete the statement. So that's one of the nice features. If you wanna like end up writing like this, var x equals 5 or 3, and if I press Control Shift X, it's gonna complete the statement for me. So it's smart enough to predict how you can what you were trying to do. Okay, that's not what I was interested in. So to get list of products, I have to pull them from the database. That would be probably the most logical thing to do. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna say I want to have a database, and I want a list of products. I'm just gonna say return that. Control Shift Enter, and that's pretty much fine. Now the problem is there are two things that are missing. So if I go for this guy, the first thing it's gonna offer me, I can reference something that I already know. So ReSharper is smart enough to say, okay, I know what you have in GAC. I can pull one of the libraries up. I know what you have in NuGet packages. I can use that if the reference is not there in the solution. Or I can go on and create a product. So that will create a type. I can create a nested type. So if I go like this, it's gonna create a type here. If I go like this, product, it's say create a nested type. It creates it inside the products logic. So there are plenty of things what you can do from the context menu, because it from the well, I think this one, how it's called, smart context, I forgot the word. Anyway, you can do ton of things from here. So it is really smart. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just generate this file, sorry, this class, and I'm gonna give it some properties. So I was too fast. So if I go like prop, this is one of the templates, and if I press tab, it's gonna suggest, okay, you can create a property now. What do you want there? And you can see a red rectangle around that one. So it's suggesting, okay, start with a type. So I can go int, and if I press tab, it's gonna suggest a name, which is not really convenient for int. But I want to have an ID here, and I want to do the same thing, prop as, and I'm gonna go with string, and I want to have like at least a name. So that's pretty good for now. What about the database? The database is still red. I cannot compile my code. I'm gonna do the same thing. I could create a type here. This time I'm gonna choose create a read-only property, and then it's gonna suggest, okay, use object, because I don't know what the context is. Just use object. What I want to use here is, let's say, bakery context. Okay, so that's just another type. I will change the modifier of this guy. So you see, if I move from this one to this and press Alt Enter, I'm gonna get a completely different set of actions that I could choose. So in this case, I want to have a private setter, because this is gonna be a private property. Okay, Alt Enter on this guy. I want to create a type again. That's a bakery context, and I want it to be a DB context. Now this is a bit of a problem now, because I don't have a DB context here, right? I could go on create another type, but I really want to use Entity Framework. So I could go on and choose a NuGet package and download it from the NuGet feed. But with NuGet, I'll have to know what package I really want. What I could do with ReSharper, I could just go press Alt Enter, find this on NuGet.org, and it's gonna go and look for all the types that have that expose the DB context class. And in this case, what I have is an Entity Framework package, so I don't have to look around and say, okay, yeah, I know that this type should be in this package or in the other one. I could just search by type, and then I could get exactly the the package that I need. And if I go here and say install, I accept the policy, of course. Wait for this guy to download. So it's gonna resolve the packages if there are multiple of them and so forth. And all of a sudden, you can see that it now provides me a smart pop-up saying, okay, you need to import this namespace. So literally I have to add using here, and ReSharper is gonna just suggest you which namespaces you could pull up based on the classes you have, the types that you're using in your solution. So if I click here or press Alt Enter will work from anywhere. It's gonna go and it's gonna add a using here to system data entity. So now this looks a bit better. What I want to do here, I can create a property now in the other type. So in products I can say create property. It suggests already the type that I'm returning back. I'm gonna change this anyway, but you can see how smart ReSharper is. So I'm gonna say I want to return DB set of product. And that looks pretty good. So what I want to do now, I just want to make sure that the context has the right initializer. So another thing to do, I'm gonna go and say Alt Insert to open up the generate menu, and I'm gonna say I want to create a constructor. So in this constructor I care about just this guy here. Say ReSharper opened up a menu and suggested a list of possible constructors that I could use based on whatever is in the DB context. So if I want to call my guy and then just pass in the parameter to base. So if you'll see what happens if I press finish, it's going to generate a new guy, so a new constructor, and it's going to pass this parameter automatically to the base class. Okay, so from here I want to go to database. So database is property in DB context, and I want to set initializer. So I'm going to do the same thing, new bakery initializer. I'm gonna create that type, and I'm gonna use what's that guy? It's a drop create if model changes, and I want to care about my bakery context. Okay, now another thing that I have here, sorry, wrong guy, doesn't require me to implement anything. I'm gonna override just the seed method here, just to show you that what you can override here. So ReSharper is gonna pull up a menu, and when I do it like this, it's gonna highlight this method. That's one of the code analysis things. This method as is doesn't provide any value because it's just gonna call base, and ReSharper is smart enough to say, okay, nothing's gonna happen, you can easily remove it if you want. Anyway, I'm just gonna copy the logic over here because that will simplify, I think. So right now all I'm doing is just generating some things in the database if the model changes. Another thing I want to override in this guy is just to say I'm model creating. So I'm just gonna set up basic keys and things like that. Okay, another thing that I did here accidentally is to add a character in code that doesn't, it's not recognized. So ReSharper is gonna tell me, okay, this is redundant method override, and it's gonna say, okay, I have an expected character there. So you can see that in the scroll bar as well. So if I remove it, it's gonna update everything, and it's gonna say, okay, all this is fine. So let me just pull this up to make sure that the solution is working. Now I copied everything from another solution, so I'm just gonna add this file, this classes fairly easily. So you can see that ReSharper is pretty helpful in this case. So I want to use customer here, and I want to use product. So many-to-many relationship. So if I try to build this thing, it's supposed to succeed. Okay, yep, all good so far. Now as you can see, I have built some logic here. The code looks pretty ugly, So what I would like to have is to extract all these classes and move them to another solution. So, or have all this logic in different projects and all sort of things. So I'm gonna add here another project. It's gonna be a class library. This one. So I wanna call it business, and I don't really care about this guy. I just wanna remove it. But what I wanna do is move all files to matching, all classes to matching files. Now, doing this manually would take me some time, but ReSharper can help me here a lot. So what I could do, and I could do that on this class, and I could say refactor. Sorry, can I do it from here? Control-Shift-R is a ReSharper command that triggers up our refactoring menu, and this command is already being used by the different commands in different scopes. So ReSharper is going to give you an option whether you want to use ReSharper for this, or you want to keep Visual Studio Command, or you just want to reconfigure ReSharper command. Anyway, I'm going to keep ReSharper command because I don't care about the other two that much. So let me see if I could do it from here. Yep. So I could say that I want to move to another file, I want to move to another folder. So if I want to move to another file, I would just have to choose like this, products logic, and I could say, okay, ReSharper now has moved products logic to a different file and it extracted it from here. So if I build a solution again, it's all gonna be good. But if I have multiple classes here, it's gonna be a bit difficult because I have to do that one by one. So what I could do here, I could say on the solution level, I want to go down to refactor menu, and this is from ReSharper. I want to say move types into matching files, and I could do the same thing here on the solution level. It's pretty handy. So if you have classes that you want to move out from the same file, this is how you do it. And then you can choose what exactly you want to move, like classes, delegates, enums, and so forth. And I'm going to go and say next. And as soon as I hit that, you can see that I have bunch of classes, bunch of files here in my solution. Now, of course, I want to move these things around, right? So I want to go with bakery context and the initializer. Maybe better adding a new file, new solution. Sorry, new class library. So I want to say business.contract. I want to move this guy out. So here's one thing how I can move now my logic around. So bakery context, initializer, and products logic. Yep, I could pull these things down and I have them here in the solution. Now when I go to the bakery context, you will see that it's missing the DB context, and the namespace is not correct, and all sort of things. So ReSharper is really smart with code analysis. What I can do from here now, I want to add the DB context, so I can pull this guy up and say, okay, reference entity framework, and then it's gonna work. So one problem solved. Now the other one is now that the product is in the different solution, and it's gonna propose that in a different one, because what happened when I moved those classes, I didn't add that, it should have added this. Yeah, that's the problem. The reason why it suggests this thing by default is because product in this guy is internal class. So if I change this to public, and if I go back to bakery context, it's gonna know that there are two possible references, one to another. So I'm gonna leave it as is because I want to move this guy too. The other option is if you want to move a class, you can go Control-Shift-R, I can say move to a folder, and then I can choose to which folder I want to move it. So in this case, I'm interested in business, and you can see that the projects are coming up, and I want to move it to business.contract. So, and I could actually say, okay, I want to change the visibility. So if it is internal in my current assembly, I want to make it public in the other one so that I can consume it. So you will see that the customer will change now from internal to public. And of course it's going to say that there will be some broken references because I haven't fixed the other one. I'm just going to proceed with this one for now. But if I go to customer now, you can see, okay, maybe that's a bug. It should have changed to public. Anyway, I'm gonna add this namespace and I want to move this guy as well. So let's do that. I want to move to folder. I want to say contracts. So if you want to go like contracts, it's not smart enough. I have to literally type the name and then you can say okay, here we come. So we have a product and it's gonna have a customer. Now one of the things that I have to fix here is that the class is not public, so customer is still internal. And one of the things is ReSharper is gonna pick that up and it's gonna say, okay, yep, this is not public, but because product is public and you're exposing it publicly, it has to be public. Okay, so now we have all code almost ready. I have to just go back to the bakery initializer, and in this guy I have to add reference to business contracts. Come on. Okay, that's weird. It didn't add reference. Let's try again. Sometimes it happens that it doesn't add reference. It's not really good for showing this, but let me close the solution and try it again. So if I go Alt Enter and reference business contract, there we go. So now it recognizes the product class that's from the business contracts assembly, but the problem that it's having is I cannot cast the business contracts product to generic product because it's unknown. So the problem that I have right now is in this guy, because it doesn't understand what namespace the class actually lives. So I'm gonna choose this and then it's supposed to be all fine. So I'm gonna say okay, build, and hopefully everything's fine now. Oh no, still another guy that doesn't understand the new namespace. I'm gonna choose okay, that's fine. So now my solution is pretty much the way I want it, but still you can see that the bakery namespace is here in the products logic because that's not the right one, and the same thing for this guy, and I could check this guy as well. And in the customer, yeah, this is fine, products is fine. But how can I fix this, guys, in the solution fairly easily? Now if you have multiple files you want to fix in one go, you could just right click on the project or on the solution. I'm gonna actually do it on the solution to show you that this works as well, and I could say adjust namespaces, and it's gonna find all the types that you have at disposal that are sitting in the wrong namespace. So if I want to say let's make sure that let's do something else first. So the products, get products, I want to extract the interface. So let's say I want to try another one, so like public product get product int id, and I want to say return database. You can see how easily I'm coding because it's so smart for picking up things that I want. So this should be what I really wanted. Now what I'm gonna do on this class, I'm gonna say Control Shift R. That's gonna bring up my refactor menu, and I can choose multiple things from here. I could rename the class, and rename is gonna rename business logic object, and it's gonna rename the file as well. You'll see here in the Solution Explorer. So this renamed the file, it renamed the constructor, it renamed everything like you would expect. Now the other thing is I could do save delete if I wanted, but what I'm interested right now is I want to extract an interface. So and then I can choose what members I want to extract. So I could just say, okay, I want to say all public, and then it's gonna pick up these guys, and if there is something dependent, that's gonna pick that too. And I'm gonna put it in the same file, which is not the best idea, but I'm gonna reuse that functionality as I did before, and I want to go actually I'm gonna move this guy, so this is here. I'm gonna add a new folder. Another thing you can do on the project, instead of going to add new file, you could just do a quick thing, and you could say alt insert, and then you can choose what exactly you want to insert there. So you can go more, and it's gonna provide you all templates that are available in ReSharper. ReSharper is very rich with templates, so then you can customize them and add your own if you want to. But from here I'm just interested, okay, I'm gonna create a new folder, say the interfaces. Let me move this guy to that folder, or actually, you know what, I want to move it to matching file. So this one is now here, and it's still sitting in the wrong interface, in the wrong namespace. So I'm just gonna move this guy up here for now, and what I'm gonna do from here, I could say I want to move this one to the right namespace, but I could just say, okay, I want to do this in this folder, in this project, or I want to do it in the whole solution. And if I do it in the whole solution, it's the same functionalities I would get here from adjust namespace, and then you can see that, okay, I have something in a different folder. So before I had 3, now I have 4. It's the same functionality in both cases. I want to just choose this, and it's all fixed across the entire solution. So if I do this guy again, refactor, adjust namespaces, it's all gone, and you can see that the namespaces are fixed now. Now if I build, it won't change anything, but still you can see that even if I change the namespaces, the code is still working. So that's another handy feature from ReSharper. Okay, so in here in my program, I want to consume that business logic object. So I'm gonna say BL is new. What was that product? It was products logic object. Now, as I mentioned before, ReSharper can discover things that are sitting in different namespaces and different assemblies. So if I go control space, did I misspell this guy now? Let me go back to program. Obviously it's not too smart on this one. If I changed it to public, it's gonna pick it up. I have to add the reference. Again the same problem, so ReSharper is not having its best day. I'll have to add the reference from here this time. And now I can call my GetProduct and say, here's one thing. So if I do it like this, GetProduct, ReSharper is gonna tell me, okay, yeah, fine, introduce a variable, or I can iterate this via for each. And if I do it like this via for each collection, it's gonna pick up what I chose there, and it's gonna rewrap that in a smart way. So it's gonna suggest me what should I use, whether I want to use var, or whether I want to use product, and what I want to do with that. Now another way of doing this, which is really cool, it's a ReSharper feature. So if I do bl.getProduct, if I do dot, and if I go for, you can see that the for each is another template, and whatever I have down here, if I do it like not null, it's gonna check, and you can see how it wrapped around things fairly easily. So I want to do this for each for now, and it's gonna extract that, and it's gonna say okay, it's a product, so it's pretty good. And then I can say console, I want to write this out, and I want to say okay, I want to go with product, and I want to say okay, I want to print out the name. But what if I want to do it like this? You selected product, and then I would say plus product dot name. Now of course nothing wrong with this. ReSharper is complaining that I don't have reference to the business object. I'll do the same thing, and then it's gonna it's pretty happy with that. So nothing wrong with this code. But if I move here to plus and use press Alt Enter, it's gonna bring up that smart context menu. And if I can choose from here that I want to use do string format instead of this. So you can see that it automatically recognizes that this is a console write line, and it already supports string format. But if I did something like this, I'm gonna show you another feature, extending the selection. So this is really cool. When I want to extract this bit, I'm pressing Control Alt left and right. So right is extending my selection, and you can see how smartly it's extending these things. And the same thing if I go Control Alt left, it's gonna go back to the scope where I actually started. So what I want to do, I want to extract this and put it in a variable. So I can go here, Alt Enter. So this is not, I don't think this one is gonna give me that. This is Visual Studio functionality, so I don't care. Oh, here we go, introduce local for, but this is a Visual Studio one, so I have to go Control Shift R, and you can see that some of these things are available as shortcuts. So I could go and push this in as a parameter in a method, or I could just choose rename. But what I'm going to do now, I want to introduce a variable, and you can see that ReSharper is going to extract what I chose there, and it's going to provide, okay, this is what I have. So I'm gonna call it value. Now if I move here and I want to do the same thing with string format, see how it's gonna do it. So this is how it extracts as a string format. And another cool thing about that is I could just use string interpolation. So this is a new feature in C#6, and if I do string interpolation, I don't have to use like curly braces and pass in the argument index. I could just use the really cool functionality and go like product.name, and I can continue typing like this with and then do the same thing and go product.id. So you can have IntelliSense there. So this is what ReSharper does for you. So it's incredibly smart. And I could actually do a couple of other things here on the IntelliSense. If I go like to string and press Control Space, it's gonna tell me what are the options, what I can actually pass in as a format. So if I go like to string and I want to go in passing quotes, I could just say okay, I want to pass it in like a currency or something like that. So you don't have to look up for all these features. Like if you wanted to convert thing from number to currency and all sort of things, you have it there. That's what ReSharper does for you. So if I do it like this, and if I run the application now, well, it doesn't work because I haven't specified the connection string, but anyway. So around coding assistance and code analysis, ReSharper gives you a ton of things. As I suggested, go here and check up on this page. Where is that one now? So you can see what you get for coding assistance and so forth. Now in terms of navigation, F12 is a pretty cool feature, but let's say if I want to use this guy and say I want to specifically use this one, and I want to just change it to an interface. What did I extract on this guy now? Products logic. So let's make this one public. I want to go back to program, make sure I get this one. So if I'm using a product business logic here, and if I press get product F12 on this one, it's gonna take me to an interface, right? Now with Visual Studio 2015 update 1, you get go to implementation, which is gonna take you there. But ReSharper is gonna give you this functionality too. So there is one navigation command, and you can go here navigate to, which is alt tilde, and it's gonna bring up a menu, and this is pretty smart what it can do. So I can go here to the declaration. I can go here to, yep, I want to use this one, so I want to go to implementation, and if I had multiple classes, like let's say I'll implement another one, so public class demo, which does the same thing. So it's gonna require, that's what I wanted to demonstrate earlier before, but still, if I say I want to implement an interface, it's gonna be smart, and I could say, okay, I want to implement this thing. So you pick up the members and just implement them. You can control what gets implemented here in the options. So enter, search for this. Where is that thing now? It is somewhere in settings. Can't really find it now, but you can choose whether it's gonna return default values or whether it's gonna throw new not implemented exception and so forth. Now another thing you can here see, it's in bold, it's if it's throwing an exception. So ReSharper provides a list of things that appear on the to-do list. So in the windows, on the to-do items, you will see those things coming up. So if it's a throw not implemented exception, or if I want to do something like a to-do, you can see that it dynamically comes up on the fly. So pretty cool thing as well. So in this guide, what I wanted to show you regarding the navigation is if I want to go here and say, okay, I want to go to implementation, and you can see that this time two objects come up. So in this case, I have a type demo, and there is a products logic object class there, and I can choose to which one I want to go if there are multiple types implementing the same thing. If I want to go to the related files, well, probably not the best thing. So I'm going to close this solution, and I'm going to show you on another one, which is a bit more heavy. So this is called Auditor, one of our products. And I'm going to show you how I can navigate through the things which are a bit more complex. So I'm going to go here and start on the desktop UI. I'm going to pick up one view model. I don't know which one, doesn't really matter. So you can see that I have a view model here, and it has a base view model, and it's using iLazyLoad. So I'm all interested in what are these interfaces. So this is something that we implemented. So I'm gonna go here, and I want to see, okay, where is this implemented? And you can see that it's implemented in multiple classes here. So I'm gonna go to main view model. And there are a couple of services. I don't know what Dialog service is, but I can do the same thing. I want to go to so this is declaration on this guy, but if I move here to the Dialog service, I can go to implementation. So let's say if I'm here on another guy, I can go to implementation from here. Let's say find usages of symbol. This one is pretty nice. So you can find where this thing is used. There is a shortcut how you can move between these guys. So you can go to next. You can go F8 on this guy, and I think it's Shift F8. Yep, to go back. So you can see if there are multiple messenger services in this one. You can do the same thing. What is pretty cool is that actually, let me go back to the top. So I command. If I use Shift F12, it's gonna replace my final references with final usages with final references, and it's gonna look through all possibilities where this is being used. It's pretty fast, and it's gonna nicely show up where this is actually used. I can expand that. Oops. And you can see where exactly all this is coming up. So it is pretty advanced. Find usages. Maybe this one wasn't the best one, but let's say I wanted to search for where do I have some properties here? No, not this one. I'll try to find one of the commands. Yeah, this one would be good. Application version. I want to know where this application version is being used. So if I go Shift F12, it's gonna tell me, okay, it's being used here. So this is a getter and this is a setter. But what if I'm only interested in setter? I could do the same thing with ReSharper. So if I move to set, and if I search for that one, this is the only usage that we have here. Maybe let's try pages. Maybe pages is a bit better. It's gonna find only setters. Where this I think that it found this one because it's not one-way binding. So as you can see, it's pretty advanced. It finds things in XAML. It does the same thing in Azure MVC, sorry, ASP.NET MVC. So pretty cool navigation thing. Okay, let me go back, show you a couple of things regarding navigation. So on the pages, sorry, wrong command. I could go and say, okay, related files, and you can see that because this class is implementing base view model and it's implementing iLazyLoad, I can choose, okay, this one is related to my stuff. And if I do the same thing on this guy, so related files, it's interface, okay, it doesn't do that on the interface. Don't use that feature very often. But I could look at derived symbols, so who is implementing. So it's very similar to this one is not the best example, but if I go to base view model, and I'm going to use a command now from ReSharper, but in the navigation menu you get all sort of things you can navigate, and I want to check what is the I want to navigate to, oh, here they are. You can go to whatever you want. You can go to a file, symbol, action, and so forth. And I want to go to a specific file, so I'm gonna go Control-Shift-T, and I'm interested in base view model. And on this guy, let's say I want to see derived symbols, and you can see which classes are deriving from base view model. And for this guy, it's deriving not directly but over another one, which is called Dialog view model. So in this guy, derived symbols, you can see that about Dialog is directly deriving from Dialog view model, but Browsing Snippet Builder is one that is not directly deriving from this guy, so it's something in between. So there is a snippet builder. Oops. Derived symbols. Oh, this is the only one that's deriving from this guy. That's why it's pointing me directly there. But yeah, you can see how many nice things you can get from ReSharper out of the box. If there is exposing an API, you would get this thing coming up and so forth. Another cool thing is that you can find this type in an object browser. You can find it in a solution explorer. So if you don't know, like right now I'm located in shell view model, but my active file is about view model, and I want to just find, okay, where exactly I am now. So I want to go here and say locate this solution explorer, and it's going to extend this and it's going to go to about view model. So this is pretty cool if you have this functionality in Visual Studio turned off. So Visual Studio will provide you this. If you go track active item in Solution Explorer, it's going to do the same. But if you have this feature turned off, it's pretty cool to use this one from ReSharper. Okay, so I'm going to go back to one of the dialog models. Let me see if there is something else that's worth showing. So referenced code, you can see where this thing is being referenced and so forth. So yeah, pretty nice navigation. Okay, so what I wanted to show you, the next thing is like right now here I'm not using C#6 features, but if I wanted to, I could go to the context and it's gonna provide me the expression bodies. Anyway, let's make this code a bit more ugly, and I want to just write it like this. I have seen it from the other guys doing it, so one line codes. This is pretty cool. So let me see if I could pull this up. Oops, I did too much. And let me do it like this. So if I press Control KD, it's gonna format a few things, but not everything, right? And you can't really organize how the file is. So where you have private and public methods and so forth, but you can control this with ReSharper. So if I want to make this file a bit more nice, I could go here and say ReSharper, and I want to go to Edit. Hold on, where is that one? I'm used to a command. So I'm gonna press Control E and Control C, which is a shortcut for code cleanup. And code cleanup, you can use a couple of options. You can create your own full cleanup, you can create your own profile, or you can just reformat the code. So this time I'm just going to use a reformat code. There is another shortcut, Control EF, which is a silent code cleanup, and I usually use silent cleanup just with reformat, but of course you can clean up the code as well. Now if I run this, watch what happens with the dialog view model. So everything has changed, and the spacing is there. So even if I go like this and create multiple lines of code in between, if I press Control EF again, it's gonna bring it to the standard I defined, and that I want to keep. Now I can control this bit in the options, and you have a ton of options here in ReSharper. Can't cover everything, but so for C#, I can have a formatting style, and I can choose how I want to have braces aligned and all sort of things. So blank lines and things like that. So if I want to allow max one line here, and let's say I want to make sure that if there is a yes, so I could easily write code like this: if true, console.write line, and that's pretty valid. So if I format this, it's not going to do anything, but if I want to change this, I personally prefer to have braces around if blocks. I could just go here and say, okay, I could remove the braces. So if it's written like this, it's going to go down this way. If I want to add braces, if there are no braces, it's going to add them. Or if it's a multi-line thing, then it's going to add them. So personally I prefer add braces. So I'm going to switch this, and I'm going to say, okay, EF, and here we go. We added braces here around that piece of code. The other thing that's really cool about ReSharper is you can control the layout, how things are being refactored. So let me pick up the in the code cleanup. Oh, here we go, file layout. So I could declare where things being in the file. So I could rearrange things like, say I want to have constructors before fields, and static fields, that's fine. I personally don't like delegates that much on the top. I want to have nested files maybe on the top, whatever. This is how I can organize my file. And next time, oops, I could actually dive into this guy and say public delegates. So this is a default pattern, but let's say I want to have properties and indexers. Nope, didn't look for this. There was a way to control these things, so this is new layout in ReSharper 10, but there was a way you could control whether you wanted public things first and so forth. So if I run this thing again, you can see that I have private private properties up here on top, and yeah, that's how you can rearrange structure in the file. The other way how you can do that is over the window here. You can have where it went. File structure. Here we go. So I can see what's the file structure. I could pin this window down here, and I could start rearranging things. Okay, I want to have can accept here. Let me show you. So this is accept method, and I want to move this cancel command somewhere else here on top. And let's say I want to move apply here between accept and can accept. Oh, sorry, I'm showing you the wrong one. Can apply. I'm gonna push it here. You can see how things are changing dynamically. So apply command. Let's push this guy here. Push the event to the bottom. And move this guy. You can see how things are changing. So yeah, that's another feature that's in ReSharper. There are a ton of them, so it's almost impossible to cover them all. So let me switch back here to this guy. Yeah, I think I showed pretty much everything. But yeah, before we wrap up, let me give you a quick guide through what you actually have here as well in ReSharper. So in navigation, you can go to anything, like it can be a file, it can be a type, it can be a member there. And if you want to go to a specific member in file, like I didn't show you that before, but you can go like alt, what's that, backspace, sorry, backslash, and you can see all members in the file. So if I want to navigate to a specific one, like this guy, that's how I do it. If I want to go to a specific member, I can go Shift Alt T, and I could go to something like, I don't know, report, view, model. It's gonna take me to a class, and if I want to go to save, I could go save file, and it's gonna take me to a different file. So pretty much the flexibility is up to you. So like I said, you can go to different things, search for it. On the coding assistance, you get, let's wait for the page to load up, but did this just changed on the fly? Well guys, I think we're all lucky. We just hit the new ReSharper page. So obviously it's a bit more transparent. You can see a lot of things here on the fly. It never happened to me like this before, that I would just click through the website, do a webinar, and a new page would show up. Anyway, you have a coding assistance, so let's go back to features. Yeah, you have refactorings. They're project level features. That's something I haven't showed. But if I want to easily understand how this solution looks like, I could go ReSharper architecture and say, okay, I want to understand how this works, so show project dependency diagram, and this is what it's gonna give me. So probably I don't care about tests, maybe not modeling because it's irrelevant to me, and I have a couple of add-ins that are actually being used, so let's work out with add-ins later. Checking policy, this is something for Visual Studio, so maybe I don't care about that much too. But you can see how nicely ReSharper is actually generating the dependency graph, and you could actually navigate from here. You could say show usages and stuff like that. So yeah, pretty cool. So there you have code generation, you have templates in ReSharper. If I go, where is that guy now? Tools, templates explorer. You can see all templates that you have at disposal. You can create your own ones. So if I want to get, let's have a look at this one for if. You can see you can start with a $sign and end up with a $sign, and this is the template, and you can provide what is going to be a default expression there and what's going to fit in the block. So yeah, ReSharper templates are really powerful. What else didn't cover, but it would be worth of saying. Okay, unit testing. You can run all sort of unit tests. So if I switch back to my solution explorer, let's go here and say I want to look at this guy, job business logic test. You can see that here on the side I can run the tests, and if I want to go here and say run all, it's gonna run all the tests in this class, and it's gonna come up with those that are failing, that are working pretty bad. We have some unit tests that are failing. So this is ReSharper. Oh, one thing that's worth mentioning, you have support for multiple languages, and that'll be the final thing that I'll show. So down here you can see the list of code editing features. This supports C#, VB, HTML, ASP.NET. There is a support for Razor. You get TypeScript, JavaScript, XAML. So it's pretty cool. Fortunately, the product itself is too huge to show all features in 1 hour, but I hope that this gives you a good start, and thanks for watching. Cheers.